The leather chair creaked as I shifted my weight, the sound impossibly loud in the suffocating silence of Mr. Harrison's office. My sister Lauren sat across from me, spine rigid, her manicured nails tapping an impatient rhythm on the mahogany armrest. My brother Derek slouched beside her, checking his phone for the third time in as many minutes. The smell of old books and lemon polish hung heavy in the air, mixing with Lauren's expensive perfume, the one Mom always said was too strong. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat, his weathered hands trembling slightly as he set down the document. The clock on the wall ticked. Once. 3 times. That's it. Lauren's voice sliced through the quiet, trembling with something between disbelief and fury. I watched Mr. Harrison's eyes, kind eyes the color of faded denim, dart between the three of us. He'd known Mom for 30 years, handled all her legal affairs. I saw something flicker across his face. Uncertainty. Well, something else. Something that made my stomach tighten. According to this will, he said slowly, carefully, your mother's estate has been liquidated. The house was sold 2 years ago. Her savings account shows a balance of $43.16. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. You're kidding. The woman lived like a miser for 40 years, and there's nothing. I said nothing. Couldn't. My throat had closed up, but not from shock about the money. It was the memory flooding back. Mom in her hospital bed 3 months ago, her papery hand gripping mine with surprising strength. Trust the process, Emma, she'd whispered. Trust me. At the time I thought it was the morphine talking. I was 7 years old the Christmas I learned my place in the family hierarchy. Lauren got a brand new bicycle, powder blue with rainbow streamers and a white wicker basket. Derek unwrapped a Nintendo 64, the thing he'd been begging for all year. I received a used winter coat from Goodwill and a box of crayons missing half the colors. Emma doesn't mind, Mom had said when I tried to hide my tears. She's practical. She understands. But I didn't understand. Not then. Not for years. Lauren was the golden child, homecoming queen, straight A's, a smile that could charm anyone. Derek was the boy, the only son, the one who'd carry on the family name. And me. I was just Emma. Practical Emma. Quiet Emma. Emma who wouldn't complain. I worked 2 jobs to put myself through community college while Mom paid for Lauren's sorority dues at State. When Derek crashed his 3rd car, Mom dipped into her savings to buy him another. When I asked for help with textbooks, she told me it would be good for my character to work for it. You're strong, she'd say, as if that justified everything. You don't need help like they do. I stopped asking. The distance between us grew in inches and accumulated in silences. Called every week. She was always busy, helping Lauren plan her wedding, driving Derek to job interviews he never bothered to show up for. I invited her to my apartment, the one I'd scraped together enough money to afford. She came once, stayed 20 minutes, and spent 15 of them on the phone with Lauren. But when she got sick, really sick, the kind where the doctor stopped making eye contact, I was the one who showed up. Every day for 6 months, I sat in that sterile hospital room that smelled like antiseptic and false hope. I read to her from the romance novels she loved. I adjusted her pillows. I held the cup when her hands shook too badly to drink. Lauren visited twice, stayed an hour each time, mostly taking selfies with Mom for Instagram. Derek came once, got uncomfortable and left. You're a good daughter, Mom said one afternoon, her voice so faint I had to lean in close to hear. Better than I deserve. I wanted to argue, to finally unleash 32 years of hurt feelings and second-place finishes. But her eyes, those pale blue eyes that used to be so sharp, were clouded with pain and something that looked almost like regret. Why? I whispered. Why did you always choose them? She smiled, sad and small. Oh, Emma. Chose you. You just couldn't see it yet. I thought it was the cancer talking. Or the guilt. Or both. 2 weeks later she was gone. There has to be more. Lauren's voice snapped me back to the present. She was standing now, leaning over Mr. Harrison's desk like a predator. Mother had money. She sold her house for nearly $500,000. Mr. Harrison pulled out a ledger. His movements deliberate. Your mother made several large transactions over the past 3 years. Donations, primarily. Donations. Derek was on his feet too. To who? Various organizations. Children's hospitals. Women's shelters. Literacy programs. Mr. Harrison's finger traced down the page. She was quite systematic about it. She gave away our inheritance. Lauren's face had gone blotchy and red. To strangers. Our inheritance. As if they'd earned it. As if they'd been there. I stayed seated, hands folded in my lap, watching them rage like toddlers who'd been told no for the first time in their lives. Something was building in my chest. Not anger exactly, but a strange, calm certainty. Mom's words echoed in my head. Trust the process. There must be something, Derek insisted. Property. Investments. Safety deposit box. Mr. Harrison's eyes found mine across the chaos. Held them. And I knew. Actually, he said quietly, and the room went silent. Even Lauren and Derek sensed the shift in the air. There is one more thing. He reached into his desk drawer, pulled out a sealed envelope. Cream-colored. Expensive paper. My name written across it in Mom's shaky handwriting. Emma. Lauren's gasp was audible. What is that? Your mother left specific instructions. Mr. Harrison's voice was steady, but I caught the slight tremor in his hands as he held the envelope. She asked me to open this only if I felt it was necessary. If the room went silent at the right moment. The right moment. Derek's laugh was sharp, brittle. This is ridiculous. What kind of games was she playing? But I understood. Course I understood. Mom had always been a teacher, even at the end. Especially at the end. Mr. Harrison broke the seal. The sound of tearing paper seemed to fill the entire room. He unfolded the letter inside. 3 pages closely written, and began to read. To my children. If you're hearing this, you've just learned that I left you nothing. And if I know Lauren and Derek, and I do, you're angry. You feel betrayed. You're wondering how your mother could be so cruel. But Emma, my quiet, strong Emma, you're wondering something different, aren't you? You're wondering if I finally saw you. If I finally understood. The answer is, I always saw you. I made mistakes. So many mistakes. I gave your siblings everything because I thought that's what love looked like. Comfort, ease, money. I smoothed every rough patch in their roads. I caught them every time they fell. And in doing so, I failed them in the worst way possible. I made them weak. But you, Emma, you I made strong. Not because I loved you less, but because I loved you differently. I knew from the time you were small that you had something your siblings lacked. Resilience. Character. The ability to stand on your own 2 feet. I should have told you. Should have explained. But I was afraid. Afraid you'd see it as another excuse for treating you like an afterthought. So instead I stayed silent, and I let you think you weren't enough. That silence is my greatest regret. Now let me tell you a secret. All that money, the house sale, the savings, everything. I didn't give it away to strangers. Not entirely. Over the past 3 years I've been building something. For you. Only for you. Mr. Harrison paused, pulling out another document from the envelope. His eyes scanned it, and something like wonder crossed his face. Your mother, he continued, reading from a separate page, established a trust in Emma's name 3 years ago. She invested the proceeds from the house sale into a diverse portfolio including, he squinted at the paper, several mutual funds, bonds, and 2 rental properties in Portland. The current value of the trust is approximately $847,000. The world tilted. What? Lauren's shriek could have shattered glass. But Mr. Harrison wasn't finished. He kept reading Mom's letter. Emma, the trust is yours, but it comes with conditions. Not because I don't trust you, but because I want you to understand what I learned too late. Money given too freely becomes a cage. It traps people in comfort, in complacency, in the belief that they don't need to grow. I gave your siblings everything, and in return I got adults who never learned to stand on their own. You learned to stand because I gave you no choice. And I'm so sorry for that. But I'm also so proud. The trust will provide you with a monthly stipend for living expenses. Modest, but enough. The rest you can access only when you meet certain milestones. Buying your first home, starting a business, furthering your education, or in case of true emergency. I've left Mr. Harrison with discretion to determine what qualifies. But here's what I want you to know, Emma. This money isn't your inheritance. Your inheritance is who you became without it. Your inheritance is your strength, your integrity, your ability to love me even when I didn't deserve it. To Lauren and Derek. I love you. I always will. But I failed you by making life too easy. Maybe in time you'll understand that the greatest gift I could give Emma was the one I never gave you, the chance to prove herself. Emma, there's one more thing in this envelope. Mr. Harrison will explain. Mr. Harrison set down the letter and pulled out a small brass key attached to a tag. Your mother purchased a safety deposit box 5 years ago. This key opens it. She asked me to tell you that what's inside isn't valuable in monetary terms, but it's the most important thing she ever owned. He slid the key across the desk. I reached for it with numb fingers. This is insane. Derek slammed his hand on the desk. She was mentally incompetent. We'll contest this. We'll. Your mother underwent full psychiatric evaluation 2 months before her death, Mr. Harrison interrupted. His voice cold now, all professional detachment. At her request. She was found to be of completely sound mind. Additionally, she recorded a video testimony explaining her reasoning. It's all documented. All legal. And frankly, he looked at Derek with something close to disgust. All deserved. I don't remember leaving Mr. Harrison's office. Don't remember walking to the bank, though I must have, because suddenly I was standing in the vault, holding that brass key, staring at safety deposit box 347. The bank employee gave me privacy. I heard the door click shut behind her. My hands shook as I turned the key. Inside was a leather journal. Cracked, faded, the kind Mom always carried. And photographs. Dozens of them. All of me. Me at 7 in that Goodwill coat, smiling despite everything. A note in Mom's handwriting on the back. She never complains. She never asks for more. How did I raise someone so strong? Me at 16, reading a book in the corner at Lauren's birthday party. Note. While everyone else seeks attention, Emma seeks knowledge. She'll go further than any of them. Me at 23, walking across the stage at community college graduation. Mom had said she couldn't come. Had to help Derek move apartments. But there she was in the photograph, in the back row, wiping her eyes. Note. Proudest moment of my life. Couldn't let her see me cry. She'd feel obligated to comfort me instead of celebrating herself. That's who she is. Me in the hospital room reading to her, unaware she was awake. Note. The only one who came. The only one who stayed. The only one who loved me without expecting anything in return. I don't deserve her. I opened the journal. Every page was filled with Mom's handwriting, entries spanning decades. Emma turned 5 today. She gave me the last of her Halloween candy because she knew I was sad. She didn't ask why. She just knew. How do I protect a heart that pure? Emma asked me today why I love her siblings more. I told her that was nonsense. But the truth is, I don't love them more. I love her so much it terrifies me. She's the only one who doesn't need me to be perfect. The only one who sees me as human. If I spoil her like the others, will she lose that? Will she become like them, entitled, fragile, unable to face the world? I'm doing this wrong. I know I am. She thinks I don't care. But I care so much I'm paralyzed by it. She's going to resent me. Maybe even hate me. But if I can make her strong enough to survive without me, strong enough to survive anything, isn't that the greatest love? I'm dying. Stage 4. They gave me 6 months. Lauren cried for 5 minutes, then asked if I'd still be able to watch her kids next weekend. Derek asked about life insurance. Emma sat down, took my hand and said, "Then we'll make every day count." She didn't ask for anything. Didn't make it about her. Just loved me. Just stayed. And I realized, I succeeded. I created someone capable of facing life's hardest moments with grace. But I also failed, because she doesn't know that's why I'm proud of her. She thinks I'm proud of the others. Time to make this right. The last entry was dated 2 weeks before she died. Emma, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I hope, God, I hope you understand now. I loved you by letting you struggle. I loved you by stepping back. I loved you by believing you were strong enough to not need me standing between you and the world. Was I wrong? Maybe. Probably. But look at who you became. Look at the woman holding this journal. You're everything I hoped you'd be. Your siblings got my money while I was alive. They got my time, my attention, my constant intervention. And they're weaker for it. You got my silence, my distance, my absence. And you're stronger for it. I wanted to give you this strength wrapped in comfort, but I didn't know how. So I gave you the strength alone, and hoped you'd forgive me. The money in the trust. That's not your inheritance. That's just money. Your inheritance is who you are. Someone who doesn't need it. Someone who earned their own way. Someone who learned to love without expectation of return. You were my greatest success and my deepest regret. Success because of who you became. Regret because you became it alone, thinking I didn't care. Cared, Emma. I cared so much I ruined how I showed it. But I saw you. Every day. Every moment. Every time you thought you were invisible. Saw you. And you were magnificent. Love, Mom. Yes, the trust is designed to grow. By the time you're 50, if you invest it wisely, it'll be worth over 3 million. But you won't need it because I raised you to build your own fortune. Consider it a safety net or a head start or just a late apology. Use it however you want. You'll choose wisely. You always do. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes. Hours. The journal pressed against my chest, photographs scattered around me, tears streaming down my face. Not from sadness, but from something I'd never felt before. Being seen. Being known. Being loved. Not in the way I'd wanted, but in the way I'd needed. I saw Lauren and Derek one more time, at the lawyer's office when I signed the trust paperwork. They didn't speak to me. Lauren's eyes were red, but I couldn't tell if it was from crying or rage. Derek wouldn't meet my gaze. "It's not fair," Lauren said finally, her voice small. Plus, we were her children too. For the first time in my life I felt sorry for them. Really, truly sorry. "You got everything," I said quietly. "Your whole lives you got everything. And it made you believe the world owed you more. And you got nothing," Derek spat. "How is that better?" I thought about the journal. The photographs. The years of building myself from nothing. Of learning I could stand on my own. Of discovering that my worth wasn't determined by how much someone gave me. "I got everything that mattered," I said. "I just didn't know it yet." I stood to leave, pausing at the door. "Mom left you something too, you know. A chance to learn what she tried to teach me. That being loved means being believed in enough to struggle. Phil. To get back up. She just ran out of time with you. I don't know if they understood. Maybe they never will." 6 months later, I used the first distribution from the trust as a down payment on a small house. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a yard that needs work, a mortgage I could afford even without the trust. Because Mom was right. I don't need the money. But it's nice to have. Nice to know it's there. Nice to finally understand that it was never about the money anyway. I keep the journal on my nightstand. Sometimes late at night I read it and cry. Not from pain but from recognition. From finally understanding the twisted, imperfect, complicated shape of my mother's love. She didn't know how to show it in the ways I needed. She made mistakes. She hurt me. But she also knew me better than I knew myself. She knew I needed to be forged in fire to become steel. And she was right. Last week Lauren called. Didn't ask for money, just asked if we could talk. Really talk. She's going to therapy, she said. Trying to understand why she feels so lost now that Mom's gone. Why she never learned to stand on her own. Do you hate her? She asked me. For what she did. I looked at the journal, at the photographs on my wall, at the life I'd built with my own 2 hands. No, I said. I finally understand her. Will you help me understand? Her voice broke. I don't know how to do this. How to be enough. On my own. Could have said no. Could have let her figure it out alone the way I had to. Could have called it justice or karma or simply fair. But Mom taught me something else too, buried between all those journal entries. Strength isn't just about standing alone. It's about knowing when to reach back and pull someone else up. Yes, I said. I'll help you. Because that's what Mom would have done. Not the mom who favored them, but the mom who knew what they needed even when they didn't. The mom who loved me by making me strong. Maybe I could love Lauren by helping her find her own strength. Maybe that was the final lesson. The one Mom left for all of us. The other day, I visited Mom's grave for the first time since the funeral. I brought the journal, though I'm not sure why. Maybe I just needed to feel close to her. I sat in the grass, traced my fingers over her name carved in marble, and whispered the words I'd never been able to say when she was alive. I understand now. It hurt, and it wasn't perfect, and I'm probably going to spend years in therapy unpacking all of it. But I understand. You loved me the only way you knew how, by believing I could handle anything. And you were right. Could. I did. The wind picked up, rustling through the trees, and for a moment, just a moment, I swear I felt her there. Not as a ghost or a spirit, but as a presence. As the woman who knew me better than anyone, who made terrible choices with the best intentions, who loved me in a language I couldn't speak yet. I opened the journal one last time, to the very last page. There was one final entry I'd missed before, written in shaky handwriting. Emma will read this and think it was all a plan, some grand design to make her strong. But the truth is, Messier, I was scared. Scared of failing her the way I failed the others. Scared of loving her too much. So I loved her from a distance and called it strength training. Was I wrong? I'll never know. But if she's reading this, it means she survived me. Survived my mistakes. Became who she was meant to be despite, or because of how I loved her. And that, my darling girl, is all any mother can hope for. Not that you needed me, but that you knew in the end you were loved. Asterisk. I closed the journal and stood, brushing grass from my jeans. I knew, Mom, I said to the stone, to the wind, to the space between heartbeats where memory lives. It took me a while, but I knew. And for the first time since she died, maybe for the first time in my entire life, I felt my mother's love not in what she gave me, but in what she made me prove. That I was strong enough to stand alone, brave enough to forgive, and wise enough to understand that sometimes the deepest love is the kind that sets you free. Even if it feels like abandonment at the time. Even if it takes a second envelope to explain. Even if it breaks both your hearts before it heals them. I walked back to my car, the journal under my arm, Mom's key on a chain around my neck. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, and somewhere in that light, I swear I heard her voice one last time. Trust the process, Emma. Trust me. And finally I did.